This episode is sponsored by Williams & Hammond Orthodontics and a community bank.
Good morning, Tigers. I'm Keegan Hess.
And I'm Danny Johnston.
And this is Eye of the Tiger News.
There's 70 days of our summer vacation, and school comes along just to end it. So the annual problem for our generation is finding a good way to spend it. Like maybe building a rocket, or finding a mummy, or climbing up the Eiffel Tower. Discovering something that doesn't exist, or giving a monkey a shower. Surfing tidal waves, creating nanobots, or locating Frankenstein's brain.
It's over here.
Finding a dodo bird, painting a continent, or driving our teacher insane. 4! As you can see, there's a whole lot of stuff to do before school starts next fall. So stick with us, cause the OT is gonna do it all. So stick with us, cause the OT is gonna do it all.
It's Austin. Danny and Emma are making a title sequence again.
Just a little reminder to the freshmen and sophomores who signed up to take PSAT. Don't forget, it's coming up on April 15th.
The yearbook crew has been busy working on the new upgraded yearbook and the Golden Report. Beginning this week, if you buy a yearbook before April 30th, you will be entered into a raffle to win a $100 Visa gift card.
If you're struggling with English, history, and science, don't forget that tutoring is available from 7 to 7:35 in room 313. Now let's head forward with today's news.
Thanks, Keegan. Starting off for today's news, we have a really big case going on. A woman named Karen Reed is being accused of killing her officer boyfriend in a case from back in 2022. She asked the nation's highest court to overturn 2 charges against her double jeopardy grounds as a jury selection in her second week. Murder trials began this week. Jurors told them they wanted to acquit Reed of the 2 charges and only remained split on manslaughter charge. Reed's lawyer argued that because the jury's impasse was limited to 1 of the 3 counts rather than all. Reed should not have to fight those charges again. Now moving on. U.S. stocks were battered by a sell-off Friday after China retaliated against the United States President Donald Trump's tariff in a tit-for-tat that escalated to a global trade war. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell declined to predict whether or not America's economy would plunge that deeply, but he acknowledged in a Q&A today that inflation could remain elevated because Trump's tariffs and growth could slow more than expected. Because the scope of the tariffs was so much larger than the Fed had predicted. Well, that's all for today's news. Let's go back to Keegan with the rest of today's episode.
Thanks, Ford. The Fall Musical One More Time has opened. You can catch the show this weekend on the 11th, 12th, and 13th. That will be both a 2 p.m. matinee and a 7 p.m. performance. Our theater department has put in a lot of effort, so make sure to show up and support. Now let's go to Christopher with our sports news.
Stretch out, big bands, whoa, whoa. Flex up, stretch out, big bands, whoa, whoa. Flex up, stretch out, big bands, whoa, whoa. Flex up, stretch out, big bands, whoa, whoa. Flex up.
What's up, Hernando? I'm Chris with your sports recap. Last Friday, our baseball team traveled down to Oxford, winning in a dominant fashion with a score of 9-4. On the mound, Brandon Overstreet put on a great performance with 6 strikeouts allowing for no walks and pitching for 4 innings straight. On offense, Connor Young led the team with 2 RBIs and Axon Westmoreland with a single home run. On the weekend, our softball team traveled down to Belhaven to play against George County. In a very competitive matchup, our Tigers came out on top with a final score of 2-0. On offense, Hayden Hodge had a double and drove in the only 2 runs of the matchup. On the mound, Olivia Skinner and Kate Johnson pitched for 2 innings and had 2 strikeouts. Finally, on Friday, our track team went down to Oxford to compete in the Oxford Invitational. In the 110 meter for the boys, Frederick Fluker got second place. In the mile and 2 mile for the boys, Trace Thornhill got first place. In the 100 meter for the girls, Kirsten Nevels got second place. And finally, in the mile for the girls, Abby White got second place. Great job, Tigers. Now back to our anchors for more.
Thanks for the information, guys. Ro Kappa is selling Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits, so be sure to grab one. Now let's go see Mia with the beginning of the week weather.
Thanks, guys. Today marks the start of what is hopefully a week of sunny skies. The high today is a bit chilly, being 61, along with a low being 40. Tomorrow, the high will be 72 and the low will be 52. And finally, on Thursday, the high will be 77 and the low will be 54. However, there is a very slight chance of rain, so let's hope the sunny skies remain. That's all for weather. Now let's go back to everyone for the rest of the announcements.
Thanks, Mia. Now let's see what's on the lunch menu and who's celebrating a birthday.
Happy birthday, guys. Today, Emma asked you guys if you knew how much wood a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
How much wood can a woodchuck chuck?
Couple trees.
A couple trees. All right, thank you. So today's question of the week. How much wood can a woodchuck chuck? Let's go find out.
30?
32.
32.
Okay, 5.
Chuck, I want to say 25 chucks of wood.
35. 6.
7. Okay. 5.
A bunch of wood.
Probably like 4.
7.
A lot. Trick question? The answer was none. Because woodchucks can't chuck wood. Thank you.
Wow, that was a hard one.
Yeah, I may have struggled a bit. Anyways, that's all for today's episode of EOT. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and have a great day. And go Tigers!
Thanks, guys.
That was a struggle to get through.
Yeah,
and
you
I'm
can.
so
No,
sorry.
don't. Oh.
She's so lucky.
Chicken Jaggy.
I've seen the memes now. Once you've talked about them, I've seen them.
My nose got stopped up and it like.
Okay, y'all, come on. Today, Emma asked y'all if y'all knew how much wood a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Do I need to say that?
Yeah.
So we all go back to y'all and you sit and talk to me on the floor.